There's not a lot of you here, but hopefully the recording of this program tonight for informational purposes will assist us in getting comments and input from the public. My name is Dave Colley. I'm on the Labrie Building Committee. Jim Bischoff's on the Labrie Building Committee. Jeff Swanson's on the committee. Greg Mack is on the committee. We have with us tonight the firm of Doucette and Associates, and I'm going to introduce to Tom Hogan. He will talk about where we are, what we're doing, and introduce his staff.
Thank you. Tom Hogan, Doucette and Associates, civil engineers and planners in Mass. I'm the manager of the company. My firm, along with key members of the project team who are here this evening, were selected by the town of Southampton for design services related to the development of natural turf field at the town's strong road site. As you know, the site is currently an agricultural hay field, and the committee in cooperation with the Recreation Use Committee and Park Commission has worked towards developing the property for purposes of expanding the recreation facilities in Southampton. I'd like to introduce key members of the design team at this time. Bill Cannon, right down from there, one, is a principal and proprietor of Cannon Landscape Architecture located in East Hampton, Mass. The company was established in 1987, and Bill has over 35 years of experience in planning, designing recreational facilities and parks throughout Pioneer Valley and New England. His group is providing lead designership for the ball field recreation component layout for the site. Michael Marcus is the principal and proprietor of New England Environmental located in Mass. His firm is a full-service environmental consulting firm with extensive in-house experience in environmental assessment, restoration, mitigation, and management. NEE scientists have expertise in environmental science, wetland science, hydrology, soil science, wildlife biology, and basically all things natural and environmental science related. New England Environmental's key role on the project has been to evaluate the existing conditions and the limitations on the site as they relate to the subsurface soils, as well as the regulated wetland resource areas. Sitting right next to me is Bill Best, PhD. He's a project agronomist and soil scientist. He's from Wethersfield, Connecticut. His resume in the field of soils, particularly related to ball fields and recreation facilities, is very extensive and distinguished. He has provided guidance to our team related to existing subsurface soils on the site, their limitations, capabilities, all of which has been critical for the overall layout and design. And I guess I'd like to start with a little bit of background of where we started and where we are and where we hope to go. Basically, in November of 2009, we were authorized to commence our services related to the ball field project. And this began by collecting detailed and extensive existing conditions information. That included detailed topographic and property line boundaries, surveying on all the existing conditions and features. While that was ongoing and simultaneously, Bill Best Group began to undertake detailed subsurface soils investigation to evaluate the soil profile and assess the soil's permeability by observing the soil structure and also by performing hydraulic conductivity tests for the subsoil and the topsoil. Bill's group performed both field testing and laboratory testing of the samples and generated results that Bill evaluated and also drew conclusions and recommendations for our project team. Also ongoing at that time, based upon the existing conditions developed by survey, Bill and New England Environmental, as well as direction by the Labrie Field Design and Use Committee, Bill Cannon, with assistance of Doucette and Associates, developed several concept drawings which considered all the existing conditions, capabilities, and limitations identified by the project team members. Concepts were presented for discussion to the committee during multiple working sessions, and all the layout features were discussed at great length with the whole project team. So based upon all the collective efforts of the design committee, and designed to develop a plan which is on display, which we believe and hope achieves the goals of the design community in the town. So with that little bit of background on our team and the chronology to date, maybe I could ask Bill Cannon to talk a little bit about the site plan.
Y'all mind speaking up a little bit? I can edit what I'm just saying out now, but it's a little low.
Good evening. As Tom alluded to, in discussions with the planning committee, we investigated several alternatives regarding the design, the placement of the athletic events, parking, future field house with concession stands and storage for athletic apparatus as well. The plan that's on display right now, I think, culminates what we consider our best effort in terms of what we think would be the best layout, best orientation for all the athletic events. One of the main events that is placed in the site is kind of what we're calling a premier baseball diamond. And it's pretty obvious to see where that is located on the plan. And we investigated several schools of thought in terms of its orientation and everything else. We were very sensitive to that, as well as the committee, in terms of what would be the optimum direction for the ball field to minimize any sun glare, sun interference, use of the ball fields. And what we came up with was kind of the textbook orientation, if you will, of the field. And I'm quite comfortable with how that orientation is going to work in terms of all the events that may come in certain times of the day. We were also pretty sensitive to its location, to neighboring, abutting houses. So we felt we wanted to kind of get it as central to the site as possible to maximize the open space, the buffer, the distance from existing houses. And we think we've achieved that as well. I'd say probably 80% of the land of the 20-acre parcel is devoted to kind of simple open space for soccer fields. We have located what we call kind of a premier soccer field, which, if you're looking at the plan, is in the lower right-hand corner, which will be reserved for soccer and will be maintained with its limits permanently. The surrounding open spaces would be left a little bit to the imagination, shall I say, of the recreation department for the arrangement of smaller soccer fields, or what we call youth soccer fields, for the smaller kids. And there aren't any magic dimensional requirements for that. So we've just kind of parceled off areas measuring about 160 by 160 to accommodate that. So it kind of shows what's illustrated on the plan of 4 or 5 areas where kid soccer games could be conducted at the same time. One of the other significant features to the plan is parking accommodation, parking facility for the users. And that parking facility would be located along the southerly border of the property, which is kind of like the high point, if you will. property, and that would kind of best accommodate what we would be required for drainage, et cetera. The parking area would accommodate, as you see it on the plan, for about 100 cars. The parking facility would connect to Strong Road with a 24-foot wide driveway that we've kind of sensitively located so that it connects to Strong Road in between the existing houses, thereby minimizing the amount of possibly night lights that might be exiting the site in the dusk times during the weekend or whatever. It takes on an interesting, kind of a nice curvilinear approach to the parking area. I think it really kind of stands nicely from a configuration standpoint to lend to the park-like setting. That also would allow us to kind of tree up the entrance drive to the parking area, and also provide shade trees around the parking lot. That landscaping of that type, I feel, would also add to further kind of buffering, if you will, from the residents of Strong Road. Some of the visibility of the activities, some of the structures within the park also probably act as somewhat of a noise attenuator when there are large groups there. At the end of the parking facility, we kind of, our thought was that would be a convenient place for siting a building that would provide concessions during events. We all recognize that certainly concessions can be very supportive activity when we have recreation events or sporting events being carried on. So we wanted to be able to accommodate for that. This building would be on a side where there would be restrooms and enough room for storage of athletic equipment. This element, we think, is kind of more of a future phase, if you will. Right now, we'd probably be concentrating on the mass grading that would need to be done for the fields and the baseball diamond. Adjacent to the concession stand, we also located kind of a play lot area that would be treed and protected from the south a little bit of privacy. Perhaps adjacent to that would be a small patio connected to a walkway apron, if you will, around the building, which could accommodate some picnic tables. Perhaps there's some supervision that would be required for kids that might be using the play lot. So the picnic tables would certainly accommodate that, as well as offering a place for people to eat and have lunch. Most of this, the upper right-hand corner, shall I say, of the site is predominantly the dark green area, is predominantly a wetland area. So we would not be developing anything in that corner of the site. It's about an 18-acre, about a 20-acre site. So you can see that maybe about a couple of acres up in that right-hand corner that we would be using. One of those small little features that we thought might be a nice element too, which could be accommodated towards the front of the property, and all we need to do is kind of excavate a shallow depression or anything else that could accommodate some skating in the winter time as well. Kind of a passive activity that we thought might relate well to being closer to the Strong Ave roadway that site. We have given some thought to some pathway systems that would take place on the site, and we've kind of illustrated on the plan that's displayed a pathway connection between a new cul-de-sac that has been constructed to the right of the site, if you will. It runs off the paper. History Meadow Drive, I think is the name of the street. And that would offer some circulation from East Street through the roadway. And people from that area could then walk into the recreation area. That pathway would run between some soccer fields and eventually culminate at the concession stand area or at the end of the parking area. People can kind of walk down the parking area and the roadway to then enter out onto Strong Ave. So that access is kind of accommodated for people on Strong Road and in that vicinity and on East Street. I think that's basically what we've looked at up to now. And I guess I'll turn it back over to you, Tom.
Thanks. So in essence, this is a design team. This is a lot of the work that we've been doing over the last 7 months or so. This is the plan as the culmination of all the efforts that we're doing as well as the committee. Either the head, now's a good time for question and answers.
We'll open this time up for questions and answers. Anybody? Diane?
Thank you. I'm Diana Sherman, the town administrator. A couple times you used the word premium. Could you describe that?
Premier.
Premier, I mean.
Premier. Well, we look at it as a little bit more of kind of an upscale play field that would be kind of taken care of a little bit out of the extraordinary to accommodate some play from the, I guess, the adult leagues or whatever.
Well, I can highlight, the committee, this is the term the committee used. What we wanted to do is we wanted to make sure we had 2 ball fields, a soccer field and a baseball field at state of the arts. That we could use for championship play, and kids would have a higher caliber of and quality field to play on for games. That doesn't mean that the other fields will be inferior, it's just that they'll be designed all the proper lengths with and be suitable enough and built to have much more quality for long-term and championship play and stuff like that. Negative. We don't have it in
Jess Dodge from the Select Board. I'd be curious to know what's the time to do this project? Allotted time?
Well, talking from the committee's viewpoint, projected time was we should have been out of bid now, but we're lacking funding for construction. So when we've taken our time into the design phase, put more input into it, do a much more quality job, and then once this is done, it'll be ready to go. And hopefully, funding will become available, and we'll be in line with that funding. We have a project ready to be funded.
I didn't mean when, I meant in the sense of how long will it take to do the excavations and the infrastructure build-out?
My input on that is, and just from my experience, is that we could probably do it if we received sufficient funding. We probably ought to do it probably within a 18-month period, considering that maybe 6 or 8 months we'll leave the grasses alone to establish themselves and mature and clean up. But probably 18 months we had adequate funding. We're being more realistic as a committee. There'll probably be a phased approach to it, where we might look at 2, possibly 3 funding rounds to accomplish what we need. So one of our avenues is to see what phase 1 will entail, phase 2, and phase 3. We're looking at it from both standpoints. Yes?
I was wondering, are you going to have any provision for sidewalks, because this is going to have additional traffic? And there's already not enough police streets all over, and especially on streets not that great, and it's already, you've already had to take action on this one. Is anybody going to put sidewalks in, or?
I can address that, not as a committee member, but as a highway superintendent. East Street is under construction, under design construction. We've been doing that for 10 years. There are sidewalks in that design. At one point, we called for 2 sidewalks from Town Hall that would connect to the Coleman Bridge, or the East Street Bridge. But right now, we're looking at one side. Okay, we don't know, we're going to go all the length of East Street, but we're going to go at least to Worcester Meadows. Okay, and Strong Road is currently has no sidewalks, and there is a small pilot program that we are trying to get funding to see if once the East Street sidewalks are in, we can at least tie it into the location of the project. These are all in the planning stages and may happen, may not happen. Any other questions? Yes?
Rebecca Everett, New Hampshire Gazette. You guys are talking about trying to get funding. Do you have a plan for where the funding will come from?
There are several different avenues. Diane's working on one particular avenue right now. There's community development funds that we could probably use. There is town funds if the selectmen decide to go, and that will. But we're going to try to address this with available grant programs. But like any grant program, it's a selection process. And this is the second round for that. I believe the first round was helped us out to purchase this land with the assistance of community development funds. This next round might be very similar, am I right, Diane?
Yeah, the hope is that we were going to apply for a grant, and we would, it's a 68% funding, so we would have to leverage some of our own community preservation money. And then if not, we're going to probably just try to keep trying until the project is complete, but then as Ed said, probably like a phased-in approach if that takes long.
I mean, our hope as a committee, the Labrie Building Committee, is that we get this design put on the shelf, and we get some money to do some of these activities, and to start it, and hopefully phase it along if that's the case. Or it would be wonderful if we get funding to do it all at once. But we're anticipating to do something after we have the plans designed. Any other questions? Yep.
Just one more. About the wetlands, is it okay to say, or could we say that we're going to could we use those for educational purposes? Like, as part, is there, you know what I mean? Is it, not that we're going to have people chasing around in it, but one of the things in the grant is that you are going to keep some of it as open space, and I love how the design is keeping the sort of people in the center and the open space around, which I think is fabulous. But could we use that open space for
We can use it for certain things. The committee had talked to the design people about putting elevated platforms out there for observation, or even elevated walkways. So all these are things we've discussed, and we're not done. These inputs are important. And, there was a survey done for the Recreational Needs Committee, which this committee, as well as the brain power of the various members, have done a tremendous job developing these plans. We, as a committee, collectively have very good ideas, and a lot of them incorporated. But we also are looking for, additional comments and things that we might miss. So if people are listening and they see this tape, you can send your correspondence to the town hall, here at the Board of Selectmen's office, and they'll get to us. Even a simple comment as far as a walking path or an exercise area. These things, if you have a comment, we want to hear about them. So, is there any other members here in the committee that want to say anything?
Just say one thing. Hi, I'm Jim Bischoff. I'm the president of the Southampton Youth Athletic Association. I just wanted to touch base one a little bit more on our terminology of a premier field. I don't want people to get the wrong impression. The 90-foot diamond and the soccer field are only comparable to what other communities already have. We find ourselves at a loss. We have a 90-foot diamond that we can't even use for tournament play because it doesn't meet specifications. So when we're talking premier fields, we're not talking about something that's going to be elitist. We're talking about something that meets the standards to play tournament. The soccer field that we're looking at is we want a permanent soccer field that can be used year-round. Right now we don't have that. So these are the type of things that we're looking at. I just didn't want anybody to get the impression that we're building some elaborate ball field out there. That's not the case.
Can I add one more question, if I might?
Yes.
Back to the wetlands, just to follow up on that a little bit, there have been some myths and legends and things around the town that this entire area is a wetland. Here be dragons, there are ghosts and goblins and things that live underneath there. There may be some gratuitous old.
See them too?
Yeah, they have an aqueduct under there too. So is it fair to say that these wetlands have been very clearly and scientifically delineated such that they would stand up in the court of the EPA or something higher than that?
I'm not speaking for the EPA or the DEP, but I'm speaking that these wetlands have been flagged and designated over and over again by several experts in this field, and I am not an expert in this field. I've worked in this field, but these areas they come up time and time again on these wetland identification. And I will leave the rest of that question defined by our expert down to the table.
I've been in that swamp. There's no creatures down there. I have, I'm telling you.
Hi, I'm Mickey Marcus with New England Environmental, and we're part of this project team specifically to address those wetland issues. And there were a number of controversies around wetlands on this particular property. There has been what's called a determination of applicability, where the wetlands that you see on these plans have been locked in by both the Conservation Commission in Southampton and by the DEP. We went out and reconfirmed these areas. And we also had what we call a pre-filing meeting with the Southampton Conservation Commission a couple of months back, where we presented a version of this plan, let them know what our ideas were, got some feedback from them about what they'd like to see, what they didn't like. But there does need to be a notice of intent for an application filed once the final design of the fields are determined. And that partly this meeting and the input from all the folks in town is to finalize the plans and go to permit.
Thank you.
Anybody else? That being said, I just want to comment on thanking people that came. Hopefully, more people will tune in and see this. I hope we put something on advance warning that they can see this, and we really do appreciate your comments, and don't be embarrassed to send anything in. We look at everything. And thank you very much, and thanks